Let us bring in Washington Post Justice reporter Matt Zapotosky to join us from Washington and talk a little bit more about these new guidelines. You've been poring over them, Matt. What jumps out to you?
Well, there's so many things. I mean, it's expanding this program that deputizes local police to enforce immigration laws. It's directing the hiring of thousands of new Customs and Border Protection agents. It's having immigration agents detain instead of sort of catch and release immigrants who cross the border, which I think the administration hopes will serve as a deterrent for people who might want to do that. So it's just a whole medley of actions that really beefs up the way we enforce our immigration laws.
And Matt, what sort of legal challenge might we expect to see here?
Well, I don't think we'll see something like we saw in the travel ban. None of these things strike me as sort of immediately challengeable. But as we move forward and as we see these policies actually implemented, actually play out, I think you could see, I don't know, someone gets detained and they feel that's unfair and they file a challenge in that way. I mean, this is just a dramatic, sort of more aggressive shift in the way we enforce our immigration laws. So I imagine we'll see some legal challenges down the road.
You brought up the immigration ban. So this is coming as the president says he's prepared to sign a revised travel ban. What sort of changes do you think that we will see in this new revised version? I presume it's going to be something that will not face the same legal challenges, if that's possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would presume that, though some of the reporting I've seen out there suggests otherwise. The reporting I've seen suggests that it will still target these same 7 countries, and that it'll just kind of clean up the original executive order. So maybe making explicitly clear that green card holders are exempted, maybe just narrowed so that it doesn't so that you wouldn't issue new visas, but those with visas now would be exempted. But even those things could still face legal challenges. That Court of Appeals out in the Ninth Circuit on the West Coast said those 2 modest changes would not make them reconsider their decision to put the ban on hold.
Mm-hmm. Matt, I want to turn to the dozens of bombs, the threats that have been investigated around the country against Jewish centers. It's something President Trump addressed earlier. Take a listen, and I'll get you to weigh in on the other side.
The anti-Semitic threats targeting our Jewish community and community centers are horrible and are painful, and a very sad reminder of the work that still must be done to root out hate and prejudice and evil.
Matt, is that going to be enough to silence some of his critics when it comes to this issue?
Well, I highly doubt that. I would say, though, the FBI sort of is investigating all of that. Him coming out and saying that, I don't think is going to be enough to silence his critics on that issue.
Do you think there's any more that the president could do? I mean, we've seen him sign all sorts of executive actions and so forth. Something beyond words?
Beyond words for the threats against Jewish communities?
Yeah, and we've had this discussion about the rise in anti-Semitism and other issues sort of associated with his administration. Yeah, is there anything that he can sort of do that would maybe put a little more bite behind the words?
Well, look, he's got powerful federal law enforcement agencies at his disposal. I mentioned the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security is in tune with this issue. When this happens, they kind of broadcast to a whole network of law enforcement what they're seeing so that law enforcement can coordinate. He could certainly direct those agencies to get more aggressive about this issue and about hate crimes in general.
And Matt, this all comes as President Trump names a new national security advisor. What are you hearing from your sources about the role they expect General McMaster to play in this administration, especially given some of the jitters that our allies in Europe have?
Well, yeah, I think it's a really tumultuous time to be taking over that role. We know that Mike Flynn had to resign, or was forced to resign in sort of disgrace because he had misled even the vice president. And I think there's a big question about how powerful that person will be in the administration and what sort of autonomy they'll get. And I think those are just things we have to kind of wait and see.
Matt Zapotosky from the Washington Post. We appreciate your time, Matt.
Thank you.